Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. Today I want to try and make some Celtic knot capstones. And this is not a technique that I invented. This is something I learned from other woodworkers, especially those that work with like pen blanks, making custom fancy pens. But it is something that I want to try and kind of port over to this and see how it works. And so hopefully I can do it some justice. I'm also going to be trying out some carbide tipped cutting tools today. So this is what I've been using for the past couple of years. These are just high-speed steel, kind of a single piece of steel that's then shaped, and then you sharpen and use it to cut through the wood. So what I'm going to be trying today are these carbide tipped cutting tools. This is a cheap set I got off of Amazon. I'll leave the link below if I end up liking them. But basically, you can see that has this star-headed screw that holds on this carbide cutting tip. And so all this is just the body. And then the cutting tip you swap out or rotate 90 degrees as it gets dull. And so I'm going to try these out. I got them mainly because the set that I have, all the tools in it are large. I mean, it's for turning spindles, but like turning spindles for table legs or candlestick holders or things like that. And I mean, what I'm working on typically is like, under 3-4 inches capstone wise. So I got some tools that are a bit more suited to the size, I guess we could say. So let's get started. All right, I'm just going to mark then just kind of eyeball where I want the end of my design to be. So let's say I want it to stretch, be a pretty compact knot. So let me stretch it to here. And then I'm just going to mark that as well. All right, so now we should have where we're going to have our knot in between these two areas. And I can come back and I can fill those in here. That way you guys can see them. Okay, I just highlighted so you can see that a little bit better. I'm not going to go off of those rough marks. I'll go off the score lines that I made. But just so you can see about where I'm going to try and center that knot in between those two lines. I can go ahead and mark my sides now. Okay, so a single slash on each of the four sides, and then the way that those meet, once you turn that down, it's going to make our knot. Okay, so we should have something like this now. We've got our side 1, 2, 3, and 4 all going in the same direction. And now we're going to cut along each of those lines and then insert our veneer. So I'm going to do a light colored veneer on the dark one and a dark on the light one just for some contrast. And we'll see how it goes. And then you want to do the same thing to your other blank. So got our 1, 2, 3, 4 sides all marked the same. Hey guys, Future Bill here. After the fact, I thought it might be helpful to show you guys a little bit more about how this works. And so I mocked something up in FreeCAD just after I'd gone through the process once in physical form. I understood it a little more and thought that this might help kind of clear up what's going on here and also give me a nice tool for in the future. That way I can virtually build these capstones and then determine what dimensions and everything that I need, and then transfer those to the wood and save myself some potential mistakes. What I've done here is I have basically a pen blank, and then I've added a single one of these veneer insets to it, and then I've duplicated that 4 times around the object. So what we're left with is this shape very similar to what I just showed you, on the actual wood. And then I've made kind of a groove path around it, and that way I can see what that looks like afterward. So again, we have what your blank looks like before, and then what it would look like after turning. It looks like this. So you can see as you go through those planes of veneer, because you're turning them, you're hitting that diagonal piece of veneer at a different angle. And so visually, that's what turns it into your circular knot pattern here. Now I can play around with this. So I have what my veneer looks like here. So I've set it up, and then if I want to move it up on the model, I've left some of the constraints off so that I can click and drag some of these things around. So let's say we move it up the model, and I want to know where I'm moving it up. I can pull in the lathe profile here. So let's say that I want this knot to sit on kind of this crowd setting here. I can also adjust kind of the pitch of my knot, and if I bring that to, let's say right about here, and then close it, let's see what we end up with. I'll hide that. And so now we have a thinner knot around the top here instead of being a larger knot down around there. I could add multiple knots to this. In fact, I have, let's see if I'll pull it up here. One I was playing around with last night where on my veneer, let me pull that up, I made a duplicate, so I have a second veneer going in parallel to the first. And so that when we close that and overlap them just right, I get a more intricate knot design like this. I can play around with the pitch of these, and I can also play around with how close or far apart they are from each other to vary the style there. But that's a cool way that I can mock these up before I get to the lathe and kind of get my dimensions and everything hammered out before I go working on the actual piece. Hopefully that helps. Drop me a comment if you want me to go further into any of this stuff. But I'll let you guys get back to the video. Thanks. I want to thank you guys for watching today. And if you liked what I did here and want to support the channel further, you can buy my books, you can take a look at my Patreon, you can order a commission from me. But more than anything, what I want you guys to do is to get out there and start something. So I know most everybody has a project in the back of their minds that they're like, oh, well, once I'm a little more comfortable with my tools, I'll do it. Or, once the stars align, I'll do it. Just go ahead and get out there and start it and see how it turns out. And let me know. Let me know in the comments how it turned out. And as always, I'll leave you with some shots of what we made today. Thanks, guys.